The year was 2157. Humanity had spread across the solar system, building homes on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. But they had never met aliens. That changed on a Tuesday in May. The first sign came when all Earth's deep space sensors lit up at once. A massive ship, bigger than anything humans had built, appeared near Saturn's rings. It did not attack. It just waited. After 3 days, a message arrived in perfect English. "We are the Karak. We come to talk." Pictures and videos soon followed. The Karak were huge, 3 meters tall with 4 strong arms and hard, shell-like skin. They looked like walking tanks. People on Earth started calling them monsters, though not to their faces during video calls. Dr. Jun Kim sat in his lab at the Korean Space Agency, watching the news with wide eyes. At 145 centimeters tall, he was used to looking up at people. But the Karak would make even tall humans seem small. Dr. Kim, his boss, Captain Hannah Lee, rushed into the room. "The government picked our team for the first meeting with the Karak. We leave next week for the new space station." Jun nearly fell out of his chair. "Me? But why? I'm just a scientist." "The best quantum physicist in Asia," Hannah corrected. "The Karak are interested in our engine technology. That's your area." Jun thought about it. He had spent 15 years studying how to bend space to move ships faster than light. His theories had helped build Earth's first working warp drive. "Will the Karak mind that I'm—" Jun gestured to his small body. Hannah smiled. "They're 3 times taller than me, too. We're all small to them." 1 month later, Jun floated through the halls of Harmony Point, the new space station built halfway between Earth and Mars. The station was made with extra tall ceilings and giant doors to fit their alien visitors. 5 human delegates had come: Captain Hannah Lee, Dr. Da Park, the medical expert, Engineer Su Choi, Ambassador Tai Kang, and Jun. They waited in the main meeting room, hearts beating fast. The far doors slid open. In walked the Karak. Jun had seen pictures, but nothing prepared him for standing near these giants. The first Karak ducked to enter the room, even though the door was 3.5 meters tall. It had blue-gray skin like stone, 4 muscular arms, and eyes that glowed slightly yellow. Gold symbols covered its chest armor. "I am Ambassador Grath," it said in a deep voice that Jun felt in his chest. "I speak for the Karak High Council." 4 more Karak followed Grath into the room. They all looked at the humans with curious eyes. One of them pointed at Jun and made a sound like rocks grinding together. Jun realized it was laughing. "Is this one not fully grown?" the Karak asked. "It is so tiny." Ambassador Ta stepped forward. "This is Dr. Jun Kim, our leading expert on quantum physics and warp technology." The Karak looked confused. One leaned down to peer at Jun, its face coming close. Jun stood his ground, though his legs felt weak. "This small one, how can it be an expert?" asked the Karak. "Its brain must be the size of a seed." Jun felt his face grow hot. He had dealt with height comments all his life, but not from giant aliens. Ambassador Grath raised a hand. "Enough, Kren. We know little of humans still. Perhaps size works differently for them." He turned to the human team. "We are pleased to meet you all. We have much to discuss." And so began the first real meeting between humanity and the Karak. As they talked about trade, technology, and rules for working together, Jun noticed the Karak rarely looked at him. When he tried to speak, they often spoke over him. He would need to prove himself with more than words. Jun didn't know it yet, but his chance would come sooner than anyone expected. 3 days passed on Harmony Point. The humans tried to get used to the giant Karak walking around. The hallways shook when they moved. Their voices made cups rattle on tables. Jun spent most of his time in the lab they gave him. He studied the information the Karak shared about their ships. The aliens had amazing technology, but their engines were not as good as Earth's newest designs. "Dr. Kim." A shadow fell over his desk. It was Morak, the chief Carrick engineer. "What are you doing alone in here?" June looked up. "Way up. I'm studying your engine systems." Morak made that grinding laugh again. "Why send the small one for such big work?" June had heard enough. He stood up straight. "Size doesn't matter for brain work. I built Earth's first working warp drive." "Impossible," Morak said. "Your kind has warp technology. Our reports said you just reached Mars." "We keep some things private," June said, "just like you do." Morak stared at him for a long moment. "Show me." The next day, all the delegates met in the big conference room. Captain Hanna nodded at June. His turn had come. June walked to the front. He had to stand on a platform to be seen properly. The Carrick delegates looked bored already. "The Kinley warp field theory," June began, pressing a button on his tablet. A 3D model appeared in the air above him. "It bends space using less energy than any system I've seen in your designs." Ambassador Graff leaned forward. "Explain how you solve the quantum collapse problem." June smiled. This was his area. "We didn't try to stop the collapse. We use it. Watch." For the next hour, June explained his life's work. He used simple terms but didn't talk down to them. Slowly, the Carrick's eyes changed. They stopped looking bored. They asked smart questions. They took notes. When he finished, the room was quiet. Then Morak stood up. "This small human," Morak said, "has solved problems our best minds struggled with for 50 years. Ambassador Graff looked at June with new eyes. "Perhaps we have much to learn from humans, no matter their size." As they left the room, Tala, a female Carrick scientist, walked beside June. She had to take tiny steps to not leave him behind. "On our world," she said, "the biggest and strongest lead. Small Carrick are not respected." "That was true for humans once," June said. "Not anymore." "Fascinating," Tala said. "Will you tell me more about your world?" That night, the humans ate dinner with the Carrick. The aliens had their own strange food that smelled like metal and spice. June sat between Tala and Voth, a young Carrick diplomat who asked many questions about Earth. The table was so tall that June had to sit on extra cushions. "Why do humans come in such different sizes?" Voth asked. "We are built different," June explained. "Tall, short, different colors, different strengths. This makes us stronger as a group. But wouldn't it be better if all were big and strong?" Kren, the military officer, called from across the table. "If everyone is the same, they all have the same weaknesses," June said. "Our differences help us solve problems in different ways." Tala nodded. "Like how you can think of engine designs we did not." Ambassador Graff raised a drinking cup the size of a bucket. "To new friends and new ideas." As everyone drank, June noticed Kren watching him. The military Carrick didn't look happy about the growing friendship. June didn't know it, but in 2 days, everything would change. Harmony Point was about to face disaster, and the fate of both species would depend on the smallest human in space. June was asleep when the alarm started. Loud and sharp, they cut through his dreams. Red lights flashed in his small room. "Emergency! All crew to safe zones," the computer voice repeated over and over. June jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. Something was very wrong. In the hallway, people ran in all directions. June saw Dr. Day helping a limping crew member. "What's happening?" June asked. "The power core," Day shouted. "Something broke. Radiation is leaking." June's stomach dropped. The station's core used controlled fusion, like a tiny sun. If it failed completely, Harmony Point would be destroyed. He ran toward the control room. The station shook under his feet. The air tasted strange, metallic. In the control room, Captain Hanna stood with Ambassador Graff and Morak. Their faces looked grim. "The containment field is failing," Morak said, his 4 hands moving quickly over the controls. "We have maybe 1 hour." "Can we fix it?" Hanna asked. Morak shook his huge head. The manual override is in a maintenance shaft, too small for any Karak. Then send a human, Grath said. Hannah looked at the station map. The radiation levels there are already too high. A human would get very sick, maybe die. June stepped forward. What needs to be done? Everyone turned. They hadn't noticed him enter. 3 things, Morak explained. Reset the magnetic fields. Restart the cooling system. Activate the backup containment. I can do that, Jun said. No, Hannah said. The radiation. I'm the smallest one here, Jun interrupted. I can move fastest through the tunnels. And I understand the systems. Grath looked down at him. You would risk your life. For Karak too. For everyone, Jun said simply. Hannah wanted to argue, but there was no time. Take this, she said, handing him a radiation suit. It won't stop everything, but it will help. 5 minutes later, Jun crawled through a narrow tunnel. Even with his small size, it was a tight fit. The suit made it harder to move, but he kept going. His radiation meter beeped faster and faster. The numbers climbed higher. Bad news. Through his headset, he heard Morak's voice. Turn left at the next junction. The control panel is 20 meters ahead. The tunnel got hotter. Sweat ran down Jun's face inside his helmet. His breathing sounded loud in his ears. I see it, Jun said when he reached the panel. It was built for humans, not Karak, so at least he could reach all the controls. Radiation levels critical, warned his suit. Exposure dangerous. Jun tried to ignore it. He opened the panel and saw the complex system inside. Wires and switches and blinking lights. First, reset the magnetic field, Morak instructed. Jun's hands shook as he worked. The heat was intense now. Field reset, he reported, moving to cooling system. This was harder. Some parts had melted. Jun had to rewire around the damage. Extreme radiation warning, his suit announced. Immediate evacuation required. Almost done, Jun said, though his vision was starting to blur. His head pounded. With the cooling system working again, he reached for the final control. The backup containment switch was stuck. It won't move, he called. Hit it with something, Morak suggested. Sometimes human systems need. What do you call it? Percussive maintenance. Despite everything, Jun smiled. He used a tool to bang on the switch several times. It clicked into place. Instantly, the heat began to drop. The tunnel stopped shaking. You did it, Morak said, relief in his voice. The containment is holding. Jun tried to answer, but no words came. The room spun around him. The radiation had done its damage. His last thought before passing out was that he'd never see Earth again. Darkness took him as his small body collapsed in the tunnel, deep in the heart of Harmony Point. His vital signs are dropping. Dr. Day's voice seemed far away. We need to get him to medical now. Jun floated in darkness. He felt nothing, heard only bits and pieces. The tunnels are too small for us to reach him, someone said. Then we make them bigger. That was Morak's voice, deep and rumbling. A loud crash. Metal tearing. More crashes. Jun felt something lift him. Something huge and strong. He tried to open his eyes but couldn't. I have him, Morak said. The small human is alive, but barely. Jun didn't remember the trip to medical. He drifted in and out of awareness. Sometimes he heard voices, sometimes just the beep of machines. 3 days later, Jun opened his eyes. He lay in a bed that felt too big. Medical equipment surrounded him, and standing by his bed was the biggest Karak he had ever seen. The hero wakes, the Karak said. Its skin was pale green, and it wore white coverings. I am Dr. Nock, Chief Medical Officer of the Karak delegation. Jun tried to speak. His throat hurt. Did it work? He finally managed to ask. Yes, Dr. Nock said. You saved the station. Everyone is safe. June noticed tubes running into his arms. Some contained human medicine. Others held strange blue liquid. "What is that?" he asked, pointing weakly. "Correct cellular regeneration fluid," Dr. Nock explained. "Your Dr. Dai and I worked together. The radiation damaged many of your cells. You needed both human and Carrick medicine to survive." The door opened. Captain Hannah entered with Ambassador Grath. "June." Hannah rushed to his side. "We thought we'd lost you." Grath stood at the foot of the bed. "The small one is stronger than he looks." "How bad is it?" June asked. Dr. Dodd walked in, checking a tablet. "Without the Carrick medicine, you would have died. But now you should make a full recovery. It will take time." "Morak wants to see you," Grath said. "He has been waiting." A minute later, Morak ducked through the doorway. His forearms were wrapped in bandages. "You're hurt," June said, surprised. Morak looked at his arms. "This? Nothing. Minor radiation burns. To get to you, I had to adjust the tunnel size." He tore through 3 metal walls with his bare hands, Hannah explained. "Against orders." "Worth it," Morak said simply. He stepped closer to June's bed. "No Carrick would have fit in that tunnel. And no Carrick I know would have gone in knowing the danger. I did what needed to be done," June said. "In Carrick culture," Grath explained, "we believe the biggest and strongest should protect others. But you, the smallest one here, protected us all." June didn't know what to say. He was just glad to be alive. "Rest now," Dr. Nock said. "Your body needs time to heal." As the others left, Tala entered. She placed a small object beside June's bed. "What's this?" he asked. "A memory crystal," she said. "While you recover, you can learn about Karak history and culture. And I have questions about humans. Many questions." June smiled weakly. "I'll answer them all." After Tala left, June lay back in his bed. Through the window, he could see Earth, a blue dot in the distance. He had nearly died to save people he barely knew, including aliens who had first mocked his size. And now those same aliens were helping him heal. Morak had risked his life to save June. Things were changing between humans and Karak. What June didn't know was that news of his bravery had already spread. On the Karak homeworld, their leaders watched recordings of what happened. They saw how the smallest human had shown the greatest courage. And one Karak, watching from the shadows, saw a chance to stop the growing friendship between their species. Kren believed the Karak should never ally with such weak creatures, no matter how brave one small human might be. A week passed. Each day, June grew stronger. The blue Karak medicine worked wonders on his damaged cells. Dr. Nock said he had never seen a human heal so fast. June sat up in his bed, watching a 3D image from Tala's memory crystal. It showed the Karak homeworld, a rocky planet with 3 moons and vast oceans of deep purple. "Beautiful," he said as Tala entered the room. "You think so?" She seemed surprised. "Most of it is hard rock and metal fields, not soft like Earth." "Different can still be beautiful," Jum said. Tala sat in the oversized chair beside his bed. "I have been studying human history. Your people once valued size and strength above all else, like we do." "That was long ago," June explained. "We learned that different kinds of strength matter. Brain strength, heart strength." Tala tilted her head. "Heart strength, courage, kindness, doing what's right even when it's hard." Tala thought about this. "On our world, the smallest Karak work in low positions. None become leaders or scientists." "That seems wasteful," June said. "You might be missing out on good ideas." Before Tala could answer, the door opened. Morak entered, ducking his head under the frame. "Good news," he announced. "The human doctors say you can leave your bed today." June smiled. "Finally. I'm tired of looking at these walls." "There is a meeting of all delegates in 2 hours," Morak said. "The Karak High Council wants to speak with you." June felt nervous. With me? Why? They have questions about your actions during the crisis, Morek explained. Do not worry. I will be there. 2 hours later, June walked slowly into the main conference room. He still felt weak, but it was good to be on his feet again. The room fell quiet when he entered. All the humans and Karak turned to look at him. On a large screen at the front, 3 elderly Karak watched from their homeworld. They wore elaborate metal armor with glowing symbols. Dr. June Kim, said the middle figure. I am Elder Drax of the High Council. We have reviewed the events on Harmony Point. June stood as straight as he could. Even on the screen, the Elder was intimidating. Your actions were unexpected, Elder Drax continued. No Karak would have fit in that tunnel. But also, no Karak would have expected the smallest being to volunteer for the most dangerous task. It was the logical choice, June said simply. I was the only one who could fit and who understood the systems. Logic, yes, said Elder Drax, but also bravery. You knew you might die. June nodded. Someone had to try. The elder on the left spoke up. In Karak history, we honor warriors who die in battle. Their statues stand tall in our cities, but we have no statues of those who sacrifice for others who are not their own kind. Perhaps that should change, said the third elder. This human has taught us something important. Ambassador Graff stepped forward. The human delegates have proposed a permanent alliance between our peoples. The council is considering it now. June looked at Captain Hana, who nodded encouragingly. But not everyone looked happy. Kren stood in the corner, his 4 arms crossed. His eyes were fixed on June with a cold stare. After the meeting, Voth approached June in the hallway. You have changed things, the young Karak said. Many of us are thinking differently about humans now, about what makes someone strong. Is that good? June asked. Good for some, threatening for others. Voth glanced down the hall where Kren was watching them. Be careful, small human. Not all are happy about these new ideas. June had faced danger in the radiation-filled tunnel, but something told him that the danger from Kren might be worse. The Karak officer didn't just dislike June. He seemed to hate what June represented, the idea that someone small could be worthy of respect. 2 weeks after the accident, life on Harmony Point settled into a new pattern. Humans and Karak worked side by side each day. They shared meals, stories, and ideas. June spent most of his time in the new joint lab, working with Tala on combining human and Karak technology. They made good progress on a better engine design that used both species' best ideas. Tell me more about Earth heroes, Tala said one day as they took a break. The small ones who did big things. June thought for a moment. There's a very old story about David and Goliath. David was small but defeated a giant warrior using his brain instead of strength. We have no such stories, Tala said. In all Karak tales, the hero is the biggest and strongest. What about smart heroes? June asked. They are always big too, Tala explained. We believe a larger body means a larger brain. June smiled. Humans once thought that way. We were wrong. Later that day, June sat with a group of Karak in the station's main hall. He showed them pictures of Earth, its oceans, mountains, cities, and people of all sizes and colors. So much variety, Voth said, amazed. On our world, we all look similar. Variety makes us stronger, June explained. Different people solve problems in different ways. Morek nodded. Like how you solve the core problem. No Karak would have thought of that fix. More Karak gathered to listen. They asked questions about Earth's history, about times when small people made big changes. June told them about scientists, leaders, and everyday heroes who had changed the world despite being physically small. Size of body does not equal size of impact, he said. The Karak talked among themselves in their rumbling language. June could tell his words were making them think. But not everyone was happy. Across the room, Kren watched with cold eyes. The military officer had been sending messages back to the Karak homeworld. Messages that Captain Hana was worried about. That evening, Ambassador Grath called an emergency meeting. "We have a problem," he told the human team. "Some Karak leaders are concerned about our growing friendship." "Why?" asked Ambassador Ta. "Things are going well. They see humans as too different, too fragile," Grath explained. "They point to Dr. Kim's size as proof that humans are weak." June felt all eyes turn to him. "They say the opposite," Captain Hana argued. "June proved humans are strong in ways that matter." "I agree," said Grath, "but tradition runs deep among my people." "What can we do?" June asked. "Continue the work," Grath said. "Show them what humans and Karak can achieve together." As the meeting ended, June noticed Kren talking with two other Karak in the corner. They stopped when they saw him looking. Morak walked June back to his quarters. "Be careful," the big engineer warned. "Kren has many friends in the military. They don't want change." "Why does my size bother him so much?" June asked. "It's not your size," Morak explained. "It's what you represent. If we accept that small beings can be valuable, it changes everything about how our society works. Who leads, who follows, who matters." June understood then. It wasn't personal. He was a symbol of a new way of thinking that threatened the old order. "Tomorrow, we visit the Karak ship," Morak said. "You will see our technology up close." "I look forward to it," June said. But as he entered his room, he felt uneasy. The trip would take him away from the safety of Harmony Point, onto a ship filled with Karak, who might see him as a threat to their way of life. Little did he know that Kren was already planning to use the visit to prove once and for all that humans were too weak to be true allies of the mighty Karak. The Karak ship was enormous. From the outside, it looked like a metal mountain floating in space. As June's shuttle approached, he felt very small indeed. Captain Hana sat beside him, along with Dr. Dai and Engineer Su. Ambassador Ta had stayed behind to work on the treaty details. "Remember," Hana said quietly, "this is a diplomatic visit. Be polite, but stay alert." The shuttle docked with a soft thump. When the doors opened, Ambassador Grath was waiting with Morak and Tala. "Welcome to the Stonefist," Grath said proudly. "The finest ship in the Karak fleet." The humans stepped out into a massive hangar bay. Karak workers moved heavy equipment with their 4 strong arms. Some stopped to stare at the human visitors. "First, we will tour the engine room," Morak said. "Then the bridge. Finally, the gravity control center." June was excited about seeing Karak technology up close. As they walked, he asked many questions. Morak seemed pleased by his interest. The engine room was hot and loud. Giant machines pulsed with energy. June's scientist mind tried to understand everything he saw. "Your warp drive is different from ours," June told Morak, "but I see ways we could combine them." "That is why we share knowledge," Morak agreed. Next came the bridge, where Karak officers controlled the massive ship. The captain, a female Karak named Vex, greeted them formally. "The small human who saved Harmony Point," she said, looking at June. "Your story has reached even our homeworld." June noticed Kren standing near the navigation controls. The military officer watched him with those same cold eyes. "Now for the gravity control center," Grath announced. "It is one of our proudest achievements." They took a lift down to a lower level. The room they entered was filled with glowing blue equipment. In the center was a sphere of swirling energy. "This allows us to control gravity throughout the ship," Morak explained. "Karak evolved on a high-gravity world. We need more gravity than humans to feel comfortable." "Fascinating," Jum said, examining the controls. Suddenly, the door sealed shut behind them. Kren's voice came over the speaker. "A simple demonstration," he said, "to show our leaders the truth about humans." The gravity began to increase. June felt heavier, as if invisible hands were pushing him down. "What is happening?" Captain Hana demanded. Grath rushed to the control panel. Someone has overridden the system. The gravity is increasing. June felt his legs struggling to hold him up. Dr. Dai was already on her knees. Engineer Sue leaned against the wall, fighting to stay standing. Kryn, stop this immediately. Morak shouted into the communication device. The gravity will increase to correct normal levels. Kryn replied calmly. If humans are truly worthy allies, they should be able to handle it. June realized what was happening. Kryn was trying to prove humans were too weak by exposing them to correct gravity levels. The pressure grew worse. Captain Hannah collapsed to the floor. Engineer Sue followed. Dr. Dai was breathing hard, still on her knees. June felt his bones straining. The pain was intense, but his smaller frame had an advantage, less weight to fight against. His years of living with a smaller body had taught him to adapt. With enormous effort, he moved toward the control panel. Each step was agony. The emergency override. Morak gasped, pointing to a red button. You must reach it. June pushed forward, his body screaming in pain. The other humans couldn't move at all now. Through blurring vision, he saw Grath and Tala also struggling. Even the Karak weren't prepared for this sudden gravity increase. June's mind was working fast despite the pain. He recognized the gravity system from his studies. He knew what was happening. It's not just increasing gravity, he managed to say. It's becoming unstable. If it continues, the field could collapse, kill everyone on the ship. With one final push, June lunged for the control panel. June's fingers stretched toward the control panel. Every muscle in his body screamed with pain. The crushing gravity made even breathing difficult. With one final push, he slapped the emergency override button. Nothing happened. It's locked. Morak gasped. Kryn must have disabled the override. June's scientific mind raced. If he couldn't stop the gravity directly, maybe there was another way. The power supply, he wheezed. Where is it? Tala pointed to a panel on the floor. There, but you'll never open it under this gravity. June dropped to his knees. The metal floor felt like it might break his bones. He crawled toward the panel, using his forearms to drag himself forward. Captain Hannah watched helplessly. Dr. Dai had passed out. Engineer Sue was conscious but couldn't move. The ship's sensors are detecting the instability, Grath said, reading a flashing screen. Other Karak will come soon, but maybe not soon enough. June reached the floor panel. His small fingers gripped the edge. With strength born of desperation, he pulled. The panel didn't budge. I need something thin to pry it open, he gasped. Morak broke off one of his armor plates and slid it across the floor. June grabbed it and jammed it into the crack around the panel. With a groan of effort, he pried the panel open. Inside was a tangle of glowing cables. June studied them quickly. His vision was starting to darken at the edges. The blue one, Tala called. It's the main power. June grabbed the thick blue cable. He needed to disconnect it, but it was locked in place. In normal gravity, he might have had the strength to release it. But now, a crazy idea came to him. The gravity was crushing them, yes, but it could also help. Morak, June called. Can you throw something heavy at this cable? Morak understood immediately. With massive effort, he removed a metal band from his arm and positioned himself above the open panel. Ready? The Karak engineer asked. June nodded and moved his hands away. Morak let the heavy metal band drop. Under the extreme gravity, it fell like a meteor, slicing through the power cable with a shower of sparks. Instantly, the gravity field collapsed. June felt himself become weightless as the artificial gravity throughout the section failed completely. Alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed red, but they could move again. The doors are unlocked, Grath shouted, floating toward the exit. We must evacuate this section. They helped the unconscious Dr. Dai and the weakened humans out of the room. In the corridor, normal gravity resumed. June's legs buckled as his weight returned, but Tala caught him. Guards appeared, weapons ready. When they saw Ambassador Graff, they lowered their guns. "Find Officer Kren," Graff ordered. "Arrest him for attempted murder and sabotage." An hour later, Jones sat in the Stonefist's medical bay. Dr. Dai was awake now, receiving treatment from Karak doctors. The door slid open. Elder Drax entered, accompanied by 2 other members of the High Council. They had been on the ship for a secret inspection. "We saw everything," Elder Drax said. "The security cameras recorded it all." June looked up at the ancient Karak. Kren wanted to prove humans were weak. Instead, he proved something else entirely, Elder Drax replied. "That strength comes in many forms." The second elder stepped forward. "Kren believed that because you were small, you were less worthy. This is how many Karak think." "But we were wrong," said the third elder. "You saved your people. You saved this ship. And you did it not despite your size, but partially because of it." Elder Drax bowed his head slightly to June. Coming from the leader of the Karak, this was an extraordinary gesture. "The treaty between our peoples will proceed," Drax announced, "and we will learn from humans that greatness is not measured in meters." Captain Hana, who had entered behind the elders, smiled at June. The smallest human had changed how an entire alien species thought about strength. In his room on the Stonefist that night, June didn't know that back on the Karak homeworld, something remarkable was already being planned, something no Karak had ever done before. 1 year later, June stood in his dress uniform on the surface of the Karak homeworld. The air was thick and heavy, but his special breathing mask made it possible for him to survive outside. Captain Hana stood beside him, along with the entire human diplomatic team. They had all come for this special day, the signing of the first official human-Karak treaty. The Karak capital city rose around them like a mountain range of metal and stone. Buildings reached high into the orange sky. Thousands of Karak had gathered in the main square to witness this historic moment. "Nervous?" Hana asked quietly. "A little," Joan admitted. "I've never been the center of attention like this." After the incident on the Stonefist, Joan had become famous among both humans and Karak. Children on Earth learned about the smallest hero in school. Karak scientists studied his ideas about engine design, the story of how he saved Harmony Point, and then the Karak ship was told over and over. Elder Drax approached the large stone platform where they stood. He wore ceremonial armor that glittered in the sunlight. "It is time," he announced. Ambassador Tai and Ambassador Graff stepped forward. They each held one end of a large document written in both human and Karak languages. With special pens, they signed their names. The crowd erupted in thunderous applause. The treaty was official. Humans and Karak were now allies. Elder Drax raised his 4 arms for quiet. "Today marks a new chapter for both our peoples. But before we end this ceremony, we have something to show our human friends." He turned and nodded to Morak, who stood near a massive object covered by a huge cloth. "Dr. June Kim," Elder Drax called. "Please step forward." Feeling small among the giants, June walked to the center of the platform. Every Karak eye was on him. "1 year ago, we Karak believed that greatness could only come in large packages," Elder Drax said. "You taught us otherwise. Your courage, intelligence, and heart showed us that true greatness has no size." Morak and Tala pulled on ropes, and the massive cloth fell away. June gasped. Standing before them was an enormous statue. His statue. The monument towered 15 meters high, 5 times June's actual height. It showed him standing tall, one hand holding scientific tools, the other extended in friendship. The detail was incredible, from his uniform to his determined expression. The statue was placed at the entrance to the most important government building on the Karak homeworld. It would be the first thing anyone saw when approaching. I don't know what to say," June stammered. "Read the words at the base," Tala suggested, her eyes shining. June looked at the massive base of the statue. Carved in both Kerek and human languages were these words: Size is measured in meters. Greatness is measured in deeds. Tears filled Jun's eyes. All his life, he had been judged by his height. Now, ironically, the largest statue on the Kerek homeworld was of him, the smallest human in space. "We have another announcement," Elder Drax said. "The Kerek Science Academy will now accept students of all sizes and physical abilities. We will no longer limit opportunities based on body type." Voth stepped forward. He was smaller than the other Kerek, Jun realized for the first time. "I will be the first director of our new exchange program with Earth," he said proudly. As the ceremony ended, Jun looked up at his giant statue again. He thought about how far they had all come in just 1 year. "What are you thinking?" Hannah asked. "That sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest people," Jun replied. And so it was that the monsters, who weren't really monsters after all, built a statue for the smallest human. It stood as a reminder to both species that true greatness comes in all sizes.